Hey, this is Taylor Rick, and this is The Breakdown. We're going right into Hictors and Dictors today, starting, of course, with my favorite Dictor, the Thrasher interdictor. And we're going to break down its use case, why they're new bro ships, as well as why they're not new bro ships. That was a fallacy of mine way back that I've since corrected. I do make mistakes, and I'll admit when I make mistakes, so here we are. A mistake you didn't even know I made. At any rate, so let's talk about these Dictors. A Dictor, by the way, is a destroyer interdictor. We'll go right into the ship tree. We'll take a look at it. Obviously, we've got the 4 races. Each one has one. I've already done a comparison mock-up, and we'll start to go through them. A lot of people use the Cormorant interdictor in their doctrine for Dictors, specifically because of one stat, which is this one right here, the 5% increase to its effective range. That's the size of the bubble. And of course, as you see on both stats for these, they can fit the interdiction sphere launchers, both of them. There's 2 types of interdiction spheres, if you want to call it that. The launchers themselves or the disruptors. Those go on the heavy interdictors, which is where the word Hictors comes from. Those are cruisers. We will get into those next. Right now, we're focusing on destroyers. For me, I think you want to base all these on what your use case is, right? And so we're actually going to go through and build a ship based on what I like to use Dictors for, not necessarily what a good fleet comp would be with them getting mixed into, not necessarily what a gay camp would be, because it's all situational. Everything in this game is situational. And so many times we look at somebody's fit and we say it's a total shit fit. I mean, that's a phrase we all say. But we say it's a total ship fit because we look at it from the use case that we would want to use that ship for, not from the use case they were trying to use that ship for. Doesn't mean that it's still not a shit fit, because about 90% of the fits I see sometimes are shit. But with that said, I'm going to tell you exactly why I fit my interdictor the way that I do, and why I pick the interdictor out of the main 4. Because an argument can be made for all of these, right? You can make an argument for this Cormorant interdictor solely based on the size of the sphere itself, right? This one here. The bigger the bubble, the more likely you are to trap someone. That's why we have guys who just go and get cores and try to max out and max out and max out and get to that fabled 60-kilometer diameter bubble. And I'll show you what that looks like, and I'll show you what you have to do to get it. We'll do that in today's video as well. So, at any rate, that would be the only thing right here to me that matters, is why you would pick the Cormorant, right? Is this plus 5%. If you go down and look at all the other stats that are in here in comparison, they're all fairly, it's rails between these two. I've always thought of the Catalyst, by the way, as being a slow ship. It's really not. It's actually faster. If you look at the speeds, its flight velocity is slightly faster, base anyway, than the Cormorant, making it a faster ship. So if you were looking for plain speed, then you would have a Catalyst over a Cormorant, but I would pick neither one of these. Number one, I wouldn't pick the Catalyst because guess what? It's armor. So out of here. The Cormorant, though, if you were going to look at it, you might look at it based on just this, right? I said the sphere launcher. Now let's go look at the Thrasher. Why would I pick the Thrasher over a Cormorant? There's 2 reasons I would pick a Thrasher over a Cormorant. Number one, it's cannons. Not because cannons are great, because honestly, I think between the 2 weapon types, rails are better, but because cannons don't require energy. And this plays into how I want to use a Dictor, not necessarily, the situational aspect of which I put a Dictor in. I'll put it that way. So right now, I've already got 1 plus towards the Thrasher over the Cormorant, and that is its cannons over rails, simply because no energy use. If you're going in to tackle somebody, just expect to be neuted, right? Just expect to be neuted. So you're going to lose all power, except your weapons will still fire, and your bubble will still be up. So that's one aspect of it. It does have a interdiction sphere launcher flight time of plus 5. That means your bubble lasts longer. So which one do you want to have? Do you want to have a bubble that has a bigger range, or a bubble that simply lasts longer? You can go either way with that, honestly. I mean, there's really, you can make an argument for either one. For me, I go with one that lasts longer. And I'll show you why once we undock and do a little playing around. And then you get down to these stats down here, and you look at flight velocity. Well, you know, a Thrasher's a Minotaur ship, so of course it's going to be faster. It's quite a bit faster. So all those reasons, I would pick a Thrasher over a Cormorant. But let's look at the third one we haven't talked about yet, which is the Corsair. Well, it's lasers. And lasers right now are overpowered. If you have a focus crystal implant that's maxed out and you're using it on a Corsair interdictor, please tell me where you are. I would like to come shoot you. And the only other thing that this has on here is a plus 5% effective range. So it's got that range ability again, right? Lasers use cap, a lot of cap. They're not DPS ships, though. It's a destroyer. It's small lasers for shit's sake. So you want to do damage in a ship with small lasers, get in a succubus or something like a crewer, right? I mean, not a Corsair interdictor. Flight velocity 355, it's not fast enough. So again, I take that guy and he's gone. So that leaves the Thrasher interdictor and the Cormorant, right? That leaves these two. Which one of these two would I pick? You already know, you saw the ship. I picked the Thrasher over the Cormorant. And it's just little differences, like I said. Rails, cannons over rails because of power. The launcher time, to me, the time the bubble stays up and active is better, in my opinion, than the actual effective range on a Dictor. It's the exact opposite on a Hictor, but at any rate. And of course, flight velocity. So for me, it's a Thrasher interdictor. That's what I build and give to my guys. Sorry, gonna talk a lot. Anyway, Thrasher interdictor. Here it goes. So that's why I picked this. Now, like I said before, I used to just hand out Thrasher interdictors that would have a micro warp drive, an afterburner, and a bubbler, right? In this case, I've put on a Mark 7 interdiction sphere launcher, and that's it. And I'd hand them out, and I'd give them to new bros, and I'd let new bros just go over here and bubble something. Don't get anywhere near my fleet, by the way, because if you fuck up and put a bubble up around the fleet, we're just going to kill you, and you're going to get us killed or cause us to waste time. But I would throw them out in front of people or go throw them behind enemy lines or whatever and let them sit there and bubble and die and just die. I don't care. You don't have to do anything. Just go sit over here and and bubble until you're dead. Orbit the gate and bubble and just keep going. And when you die, you die. That's your purpose. You know, kind of like Butterbot in Rick and Morty. His only purpose is to serve butter, and he wants to kill himself afterwards. Well, here you are, ladies and gentlemen. You're a T6 pilot, Thrasher interdictor. Your only role is to sit there and die. But you will slow the enemy down while you're doing so. And this is a vital, crucial thing. In one of my previous videos I put up where Care Bears with Guns was fighting Scar, one of the reasons we wiped that fleet pretty well was because we had a Dictor on the incoming gate and slowed them down. So their timing of when their two fleets were coming together was thrown off. So we were able to focus on one fleet and then focus on another fleet. They never were able to come together. They were never able to anchor. And that's just one little example of what this tiny, easy to, I mean, just a piece of cake ship. This is just so easy to make. You can make these in 2 hours and fit them and go and throw them out there, and it's no big deal. So, and the pilot doesn't even have to know what he's doing. He just has to orbit and bubble. So anyway, but like I said, I used to always just do that. And I've changed my mind on that. Even though I still want to give these ships to new bros, I have gone back and said, okay, well, there's no reason to just leave them without any cannons. Go ahead and put cannons on them. They don't have to be C-type, but go ahead and put cannons on them. Go ahead and put webs on them especially. I wasn't doing that before because I just didn't want to waste the webs. But I don't know, I've changed my mind on that. It's okay to tell a new bro, okay, go sit there and park on the gate and orbit it and put bubbles up, trying to stop anything that comes through. Oh, by the way, if something does, though, just approach it and web it if you can. And if it warps off, great. And if it kills you, well, it was the same thing that was going to happen before, right? So, but you can slow them down some more. So I put 2 webs on these things. This is the basic fit right here. I even said, okay, fine, we'll go and put aux rigs on here and a polycarbon, you know, 1 of 1. Although I kind of feel like this should really be 2 aux thrusters, not a polycarbon. I'm going to change that right now. So and I'll explain why in a minute. So dual aux rigs. I mean, if you're going to go crazy with a Dictor, then you probably want to go all the way with 3. But again, and then of course for this one, I just went with kinetic and core defense to get as much shield as possible to get our defenses up. Because if you really look at this, this is this is going to get alphaed by like half of a volley from an Oracle 2. It's not going to last very long. It's going to die super quick. And there's really no need to even go in and do things like this on most of these ships. But in this case, I put it on here because it looks cool. And plus 21% for the launcher disruption field range. That's good. That's good. So all in all, with that and skills and everything else, that does give me a flight time of 141 seconds. That means that's how long the bubble is going to last. Fuel consumption of 900 gigajoules. This is really important now based on the fuel modules, although you're going to see here on the Fulmination server where it's a little bugged, so I can't really go through that too much. But then we get a disruption field range of 25.71 kilometers. Not too bad. A T6, T7, well, you have to be T7 actually to fly to put the Mark 7 interdiction sphere launcher on here, but at any rate, it's a T6 ship. Are there... Now I'm confused. Are there Mark 6 modules? Whatever. Anyway, T7 interdictor pilot. 25.71 is respectable for a Dictor. It's not great, but it's respectable. And let me show you why. Let's undock. Yeah, insurance reminder, whatever. Takes it a second. I wish I would speed this up. It'd be great. And like I said, never mind that the red icon down here is showing I have no fuel or I can't launch a bubble, because I can. And I didn't swap out anything with the implants, but whatever. It doesn't matter in this case. There's your bubble, right? Looks pretty big. That looks like that's taking up about half the station. And as you'll notice, I'm going 625 meters per second. And I'm just flying, and I launched it, and now we're watching that wheel go around for when I have to launch it again. On a Dictor, I have to constantly keep pushing that button to put another bubble up. And that 141 seconds of flight time is how long that bubble stays active before it starts to disappear and go red, which it's going to do here in a moment. But not before I can launch a second one. And I can just keep popping as I go. And this is where your flight velocity and your overlay of these bubbles really gets to be important. I'm going to wait for, I'm going to go ahead and burn out of here. And again, aux rigs, because if I'm trying to tackle somebody, I know it's not a frigate, but look how fast I can go, right? I can get all the way up to, I think, 3,300. Well, I can just tap on this and tell you without waiting for it. Yeah, 3294. So almost 3,300 meters per second. Now, granted, you're not gonna track down a scepter, guys, because it's immune to this shit. The bubble is still up, by the way, so that's kind of impressive. Let's go to the gate, and let's warp into the gate at like 20. But that's fast, right? And so you're really going after somebody to try to hold them down, which is why, again, I say sometimes for Nubros, it's okay if you die, because you're going to go and try to hold a bigger ship that's going to probably be able to kill you. Now, if you're on YouTube a lot like I am, watching stuff from Eve Echoes, then you've seen the Dictor pilot who just pulled a oh my god feat, where he was able to hold, I think it was a carrier that he was holding down. Maybe it was a Rorqual, I forget now. It was a Capital, one way or the other. That was the amazing thing. And he was literally warping in and out, back and forth, keeping a bubble on this guy forever and a day. I don't know if he had a bookmark or what he was doing, but it was fantastic. And it was just a miracle how he was holding this guy down while reinforcements came in to kill somebody. And so it was just this little Dictor all by himself, not dying. I am not good enough as a Dictor pilot to be able to do that as well. I might try to show you what that looks like here in case you haven't seen that video. I'm going to go ahead and orbit at 21, but I'm not going to turn on the micro warp drive. Instead, I'm going to turn on the afterburner, because there is such a thing as going too fast with a Dictor when you're trying to bubble a gate. When you're trying to bubble a gate, you can see why I went right there, right? It's overlapping. When you're trying to bubble a gate, what you're trying to do is get a pentagon shape. You want 5 bubbles evenly spaced all the way around this thing in order for anything that comes in to be able to be caught in this bubble so it can't warp off. Now, granted, there's an invulnerability. Yeah, I'm getting that little bit of a bug or lag where I get certain artifacts at the gate over there, but zoom out and they go away. Like, see, I need to be able to pop the other bubble now, right? Right now. Not going to be quite the right overlap. I'm almost on the other side. I am technically going too fast. So I'm going to cut my speed to about 650, somewhere in there. And I'm going to sit and practice this and get it with this specific ship, with these specific fittings, to where I can get 5 nice spaced bubbles and a flower petal. Now, granted, you could probably do it with 3. At this speed, looks like I might be getting closer to where I can do it at 3. I'm about halfway around the arc from this one. And I've got my timer down here right now, so that might actually not be so bad. But now you got to think, okay, well, how long does that bubble last? That bubble lasts 141 seconds. And so if I could keep this up right here with these 3 bubbles, that's actually not too bad. Although we've got a spot on the backside. If someone warps in, jumps in, and they wind up here, they've got free space, right? This is where the balancing of a Dictor really comes in, to where it's not necessarily a new bro thing to really be able to do this effectively. Although your orbit kind of changes as you go around. And it might even be better to just go faster. Here we go with another one. So you kind of have to play with these mechanics a little bit. And see, that's probably, that's getting there. That's getting there. If we had a second ship here with me orbiting at the same time, then this gate would be totally covered. 2 Dictors could cover this just like this at this speed, 650 or so. Now, there's a reason why I'm using the afterburner over the micro warp drive, and it's not because of speed. Okay, it's because you can get scrammed, right? Somebody comes in and tries to slow you down, or tries to obviously scram you so you can't warp off if you're trying to save yourself, or if you're, yeah, see, that doesn't look too bad. This might actually work right there. It's almost as if I've done it before. I haven't really. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the difference between the 2 prop mods. Obviously, you want the micro warp drive to be able to chase after somebody and nail them down. But if you're getting scrammed or you're getting webbed or anything else, then you're going to need the afterburner to be able to move away as well, or still be able to catch them. Right? You don't want them to take away your speed. That's why I do the dual prop. You don't want them to take away your speed. The speed is the king. And see, we're getting there. We're getting there. This might turn out looking pretty good. Not so bad. Not so bad. And, of course, you have to be watching local and who's going to jump in and all those kinds of things while you're doing this. But we'll see as I get around here if I get this nice little perfect bubble. Getting there. As always, guys, if I'm saying something you disagree with or you don't like or you think's wrong or, shit. See, not quite lasting long enough. The skills, well, this guy's 555, but wasn't quite in place for that one. So we'll see. Almost there, right? Let's see if I can make it to that last one before that next one dies. Let's see. If I can make it to the next one before that one dies, I've done it. Not always easy to do. Might have to go just a tad bit faster on the orbit to make it happen. And then in case when you do, you might get different overlay. But we'll see. Anyway. All right, so that was the dual prop and the reasoning for the dual prop. Yeah, I lost it. I'll speed up a little bit, I guess, because now I've got me. Now it's got me really intrigued. Let's see. I was at 44%, 650. Let's go to 800, maybe. Let's try 800, somewhere in there. Pop another one. I also don't want to sit here and make everybody watch bubbles for an hour. But just that little bit of a speed increase, those don't look too bad. If I can get to the next one real quick. Good enough for one guy who's trying to stop multiple ships coming in. If you're just trying to stop one ship that's coming in, yeah, see, it's down. Then this probably isn't good enough. But if you got multiple ships coming in, you're gonna slow down a couple of them, because chances are when they spawn, they're gonna spawn all over the place. And being a 21 kilometer orbit with a 25 kilometer diameter bubble, then in essence we're only going out to 37, 40 kilometers, which of course we all know when you when you're warping into this, that's another story. What we're trying to catch is people jumping into the gate, not warping towards the gate. That's a whole nother ball of wax. So everything that I'm doing right here is, I'm not even watching. I should have hit the bubble. That probably would have come out okay. But yeah, I might be into a 4 pattern with this speed, but whatever. Screw it. We could just go full and go micro warp drive once the afterburner stops and just see what that does. Why don't we do that? That'll be fun while we're talking here. Because this is 2 methods, right? There's always 2 methods there's more than 2 methods to a lot of things. But in this case, there's 2 methods to how you want to use this. You're either using this on the incoming gate. So as they jump in, they're jumping into a bubble. And now it takes them longer to get out or to move or to form up or whatever it is they're doing. But this is not how I would station or set up if I was looking for them to warp into this gate. In most cases, for a Dictor, I would just have you always on the outside of the gate to where they have to jump through the gate into you than I would any other way. The Hictor is used in the other scenario where they're warping into you more so than not. You can still use a Dictor for a drag bubble, by the way. So let's talk about that real quick while I'm doing this, and I'll make sure I'm watching the ring and can hit these buttons. Might not be so bad if just go full speed, but then again, I have 2 aux rigs as opposed to polycarbon, so I'm not quite holding my orbit. I'm out to 23 right now. But you do at least want that bubble, like you can see there, where it's overlapping the gate itself. You don't want a hole there. Maybe you want a little hole there, but not a big one. So with drag bubbles are finicky to me. I mean, they work, but to me, sometimes they feel like they don't work. I've seen on so many occasions where somebody literally goes right through my bubble. And if you don't understand why that happens, it can make you very frustrated and to not try to use them. But I'll explain to you what's going on with the physics in the game, or the math, I'll say. There's no real fit, just the math of how the drag bubble works. So any one of these bubbles right now are fully formed. They're blue or the purple, however you want to think of that color. I think of them as kind of a blue hazy color, right? But when they first launch, they're orange in color and they're not fully expanded, right? So I'll launch one here in just a second. That is a forming bubble right now. It's orange until it's blue. When it's blue like that, that means it's fully formed. So if, let's say full send is on a gate, and you're sitting here on this gate, or let's say full send is undocking from Serpentis Prime, and you're sitting here on the YZ gate, and you want to make sure he gets caught in this bubble. Right now, if he warps to this, he's going to, unless he's in an interceptor, he's going to go right through it. But if he's in anything else, he's going to stop right on this bubble. He's going to literally stop along the edge, one of these edges of a fully formed one. Now, if the moment he undocks and starts to warp to this gate is the moment in which that bubble isn't fully formed already, he's going to go right through it. The bubble has to be fully formed. It can't be in the middle of forming. So, and it's not a matter of whether he's on grid or not. It's a matter of the moment he enters warp, and at that time, if the bubble is full or not, fully formed, right? If it's not fully formed, it's not going anywhere. So in that case, let's look at Serpentis Prime. Let's approach. I think this is the one I'm got all my stuff docked at. Who the hell knows? Anyway, I'm going to do an approach. And so now we can see, okay, well, here's the gate. There's Serpentis Prime. So if he undocks and comes straight out here right now, this bubble is formed. He's going to stop right here. Or in this case, if he starts to warp right now, he's going to go through this bubble. But if the moment he started to he started his warp is right at this point, then he's going to stop at that bubble, right? And so you can use a Dictor as a drag bubble if you know where they're coming from, i.e. a station or another gate, and you can literally just drive right towards that gate or that station and keep popping a bubble along the way, and that will stop them mid-flight as at one of these bubbles, right? Because I'm going to make a trail of bubbles at this point, and I'm going to actually put them as far apart as possible, although I do not want to go past 150 kilometers. Can anybody guess? Anybody? Anybody? I'm way past it. Bueller? I'm way past it. If they stop right now, they'll just burn through the bubble and then they'll just warp to the gate. But then they'll have to stop at another bubble, right? And so if I just keep putting these in a line, though, they'll have to warp and hit the bubble until the bubbles die. So I don't technically really want to go this far because I want to keep everything. I'll go to approach because I want. Oh, heck, if I go and warp right now, we'll see what happens. Not going to even let me. Can't warp because it's intersecting the path. So even though it's not even going to let me warp at all, period. So I got to fly through all this stuff. So going back and forth within that certain range, I don't typically get past 150, but in that case it works. So that would keep people off the gate, and that is how you would use a drag bubble in this instance to stop a fleet in a Dictor anyway from moving up into the gate if you knew exactly where they were coming from. Now I'm inside the 150, so I couldn't warp anyway. That's why I like to keep it inside the 150. I guess 200 worked, though. That's surprising. At any rate, I'll go back this way. I'll say dock. This bubble is still in my way. We'll see if it lets me. And see, in that case, I went right through it, right? I probably should have had this turned in line. I knew it was in line because that's the direction I was going. But in that case, it went right through it. So, you know, it's an odd mechanic. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what else to say. That's weird. There's no way to really try that on a Hictor, which we will do next, because the Hictor is a totally different scenario. Whereas with the Dictor, we saw it constantly having to push the button and bring up another bubble and yada, yada, yada. And, of course, this isn't the right. Good grief. Never mind me. I have no idea where I'm going. Why wouldn't I have put everything in prime? Anyway, I guess I can just go look in my dang inventory because this is the only shit I have. Yeah, right there. Nope, right there. Anyway, we'll get docked up. We'll switch over to a Hictor. And we'll point out some of the differences of the Hictor at that point. Odd how it wasn't letting me warp to the gate, but I warped right through the bubble towards the station. That's interesting. Somebody tell me why that is. I'd like to know, because that feels odd. Part on part why I don't really typically use Dictors for drag bubbles anyway. I like to use them, like I said, on the gates. Let's go and look at a different ship, which is the Bellicose Interdictor, which is, of course, a Hictor, a heavy. It's I don't know if I'd call it my favorite Hictor. I think the Rupture is better, but then again, it's a T10. So this is a T8. Let's see if this is the one that's got nothing on it. Good job. Good job, Taylor. Let's go to the other one. This also has nothing on it, so I guess we're just going to sit here and we're going to fit this dang thing. Because with a Hictor, it's a different story. It's T8, obviously. We've got a Mark 9. So it's funny how these tech field, they just get in the fucking way. They just get in the way. They got to get rid of these NetEase. Come on. You finally get to where you can fly. I guess you could put a Mark 7 warp disruptor on this thing, and it is a T8 ship, so whatever. But it's just the tier system, tech system thing's got to go away. I get it for modules in some cases, but just stop. Just stop. Anyway, so in this case, I put a Mark 9 warp bubble on here. Maybe I have a Mark 7. I probably don't. I do not. I have everything else, but not a Mark 7. Okay. So Mark 9, whatever. These are different. It has a 29.69 disruption field. So it's already larger than a Dictor was, with comparable skills between the two, obviously. But the Thrasher Interdictor had a nanocore with a plus 21%, and it still wasn't larger than this. And this doesn't have a nanocore on it for any of the upgrades to it. So, yeah. If it was me fitting this, I would go in with aux 3s. Aux 3s on all three. I want speed because, again, damn it, that sucks. I just wasted some rigs. Thank God this is fulmination. There we go. So aux 3, aux 3, aux 3. I could go with aux 4s, but I'm going to save that for the rupture and really go balls to the walls in the dang thing. But I want speed. I want speed on this thing. Base navigation now of 614 because I want this to be a tackle. And then granted, it's never going to be faster than a Daredevil or any other frigate that's coming through, but it is going to be faster than an Ashamu. It is going to be faster than a Vigilant. It is going to be faster than most any other cruisers for that matter. And this is what this is really designed to go after. This is designed to do fast tackle on cruisers, battle cruisers, and battleships, right? That's what I look at a Hictor as being its primary role. Sure, it's going to sit on a gate and it's going to stop somebody from coming in, but as soon as that person does come in and they can't warp off, this thing had better be able to chase their ass down, and it had better be faster than 80% of whatever's coming through that gate. Again, frigates not included. I want these things to be fast. I granted they're not what I would call fast tackle from a scepter perspective, but to me, I fit these things for speed. So anyway, we go into the defense. Obviously, this guy's a shield guy. We see its resistance here. EM is where it's weakest, as always. So I'm going to somewhat treat it like a Guardian in some cases, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to go level 3 anti-EM rig, anti-EM, and get that base resistance up. Now we're at 46. Outside of that, I don't care. All I care about at this point is this, because I don't want this thing getting alpha. These resistances mean jack shit if someone hits you in one volley of 10,000, right? I mean, this is gone, and so is most of this, right? So if I'm thinking an Oracle 2 here, something like that, right? So I don't really care so much about the rest of this at this point. I do care about the one that's almost non-existent for the very thing that I'm trying to put up and save the ship with, which is shields. So then I'm going to come in here and do something that everybody's going to give me shit for. I'm going to go to the core defense field extender. It gives me 30% more shields. I'm going to do it twice. One time is going to give me now where I've got 21,000 estimated hit points in total. Now I'm at 68, right? I'm going to do it again. Now I'm at 22, and I'm at almost 8,000, okay? That's just me, all right? I want to max out the amount of raw hit points on these shields as possible, but I can't leave this resistance at 0 for the very thing that's there to protect me. So at any rate, that's why I do that. I need this raw number to get as high as possible. Then, of course, I can come over here and make it higher by doing some things like this. 1, 2, and then a DCU. Okay. Now I've got resistances a little bit better. Nothing's active, obviously, but a little bit better just based on the DCU being installed. So a little bit better. Again, this thing is meant to go after something, be on top of something, and keep it pinned down until reinforcements arrive. So it does have to have some survivability. This is meant to survive. This isn't meant to just die while it's holding something. This is meant to quickly get on top of somebody as fast as possible and hold their ass down until reinforcements arrive. And if you can't hold their ass down, then you're going to have to figure out, get some more people in there as fast as possible, maybe move off, try to survive, hit the DCU, something, and of course, shoot back. In the case of a bellicose interdictor, we're going to be putting missiles on this guy. And then we can go with additional things here to try to beef up its survivability. I'm not going to put yellows on. I don't know why I have 500 yellows. I'm not going to put yellows on this guy. Those are kind of silly. But I would obviously put a micro warp drive on. He's got to move. I'm not going to worry about an afterburner in this case. That's just not what I do, because instead I'm going to go and put a I don't have one. Thought I had a... That's odd. I thought I had a shield extender. I Thought I had a medium shield extender. I would put an extender on here and not a booster. But I don't, for some reason, I don't have one in the hold. I won't worry about it for right now because it's not too important for what we're doing with this fit. And then, of course, I would go and put, can we fit in large? I'm not sure if I can fit a large on this guy or not. I most certainly can. And then, of course, webs. And you can go Predator webs if you wanted to. You can go nuts with it, but don't really necessarily need to. We'll just go with 2. You don't need to go that nuts on it. But I would put an extender because I would also, if I was going to go crazy with this, I would have a chip for the shield extender in my implant as well to give that a boost. Yeah, dang, that's not going to give me the stats I was looking for. But anyway, let's go and look at, oh, great. I don't even have, see, I thought I had one of these fully fit. What's the deal? Doesn't matter the DPS isn't, doesn't matter the DPS isn't huge on this ship. Oh, I probably put it on one of the other ones. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The DPS isn't that big of a deal. I'm pretty sure my rupture's fully fit. Yeah, and that just goes through the, and then, of course, you'd go with a missile implant. Any one of these for missiles. We'll get into that in a minute. I think that is, yeah, I don't know if I'd go with Warhead or, probably not. Anyway, Warhead's still installed. We'll just leave it at that. And as I said, it doesn't matter because we're not going to even see the stats without any of these. But let's go ahead and undock. Let's give you an idea of what this looks like before I pull out the big guns, which is the Ruptor interdictor, the T10 guy. And we go to town on what it is capable of. In this case, oh, did I not put any fuel? We should probably put some fuel in the hangar. Every once in a while, it helps to think about what you're doing before you do it. I don't know. We'll just put 3,000. And I had to just put it in the cargo hold and whatever. I don't get to do the refuel or anything. It doesn't work right now on the Fulmination server. So, at any rate, the DPS on this ship, by the way, you should be able to get up 300-400, somewhere in that range. Last time I looked at it, I thought it was somewhere in that range. So if we go straight to a gate, as we warp away from Station 8, Moon 2, I won't forget that. Then we'll start to look at what our normal resistances look like, what our time is going to look like. Obviously, we're missing our shield extender that I would put on here. I've got a large newt to be able to obviously newt somebody out, slow them down with 2 webs, stay on top of them, not let them get away, let them get anywhere. So if I'm sitting here on the incoming gate and I've got this bubble up, this bubble looks totally different. It's not as big, it's bigger anyway, as what the Dictor bubble was, but it's not covering as much range. And as you notice, it's on instantly and it stays orange. The color doesn't change. It's on instantly. So as long as as long as you hit that button before somebody warped to this gate, they're going to stop on the outset of the bubble. They're not going to get through you. But this thing has to be up and this module has to be active before they hit warp. If you hit these buttons after they've hit warp, they'll go right through it. But in this case, we could go and approach the station, and all day long they're going to stop right on the edge of our bubble. They'll never get through that gate. I could just sit here and go forever and a day at full speed to try to get them to come in as far off the gate as possible. So when they undock and warp to this gate, that's it. Now, granted, there's 3 stations here, so if they're coming from different angles because your bubble might be smaller, they might get through it, right? So where are these other stations at? Let's see, there's Serpentis 8, Moon 2. So if they're coming from that direction, that's fine. But if they were coming from this planet, then they would still hit it. If they're coming from that planet, they would still hit it. If they're coming from that station, they would barely hit it. But right now with where I'm sitting, if they're coming from that planet or that station, they're jumping. You've gone too far if you're trying to stop somebody from all the way around. That's where a Dictor is so strong from the standpoint of being able to stop. You actually get a larger effective range around the gate if you put your pedal at the 5, or 3, 4 works, but I always try to get 5, that perfect pedal. That is going to stop anything from coming in, whereas with this, it's a little harder to do. But it's better at the drag side of things. If you know where someone's coming from, obviously, because the bubble is always there. And, of course, full speed. How fast was I going? I think I was going a little bit quicker. Oh, let's approach again. There we go. Nope, only 1,000. So, obviously, a Dictor is going to be faster from that standpoint. Wait, did I put... I did put all 3 on here. How am I only going to 1,000? Aux 3s? Navigation? 1,000? Something wrong with my skills here. This guy can go faster than that. What did I do? Put a small? Oh, Lord Almighty. I can tell you that that's not the first time I've ever done that. And I'm sure that's not the first time you have ever done that. Nah, you can get this thing up to 3,500 as well. And really do some decent tackle. And of course, when you go into doing your 2 resists, at the very least, without your shield booster, now you're looking at a number that's somewhat, you're going to be able to at least sustain a few quick volleys. Obviously, if an Oracle 2 is on your ass, you're going to need some help. So you don't want to necessarily be alone. Dictors I usually have farther out ahead of everybody. Hictors I have a little closer. And you'll see a lot of fleet comps using a Hictor like on the damn fleet. And you might think to yourself, why are you bubbling your own fleet to where you can't warp away? And that's not the case. You're trying to keep someone from warping into you too close. That's the other major thing about a Hictor. There's times when you do want your own bubble up so that when they warp into you, they can't get too close, whether it's a kiting fleet or maybe it's a brawling fleet, but your setup is they need to be 30 kilometers out. Those kinds of things matter. So I'll put the bubble down. We'll go dock because this setup is stupid. I got to wait for the bubble to die, of course. That's where timing comes in and everything else. Now we can dock. Come on. Dock. There we go. A small micro warp drive. That's hilarious. Okay. And I may be missing some things here as far as what the more advanced Hictor pilots than me do. And if so, let me know. Love to hear from you. But these are the basics. Now we're going to show you what a non-basic looks like. A T10 rupture interdictor, fully fit, nano core. We're going to go through the roles of the nano core and max this sucker out. Let's go look at it. It's this one right here. Set active. Please tell me this thing's fully fit. Otherwise, I'm going to have to stop for a minute. Here we go. Yeah, there she is. So, DPS-wise, a bellicose interdictor is probably going to get close to that, but not quite up to 462 like this one is. Obviously, it's got everything on. I got a booster instead of an extender. I think my thinking had changed with one of these latest patches here a while back where I would want to go with a extender over a booster, but here we are. 2 webs, 1 tracking disruptor, 1 newt. That's probably what I should have put on the bellicose as well as a tracking disruptor. So again, for me, a Hictor has got the same type of role as a Dictor. It's just used a little differently, but you're there to hold something down. You're there to chase something down and hold it down. So we've got a base navigation speed of 516. That's pretty damn good. We've got a bubble right now that's at 46.7 kilometers, so it's much larger. If we take this thing out in space, well, hold on. I want to go look at our implant. Did I put the implant? This is Canon's, right? So we're going to set sniping as our active one. So we have the right implant in for, we go to development. Yep. Upon skill activation every 5.5 seconds, 1 second at max level. 1 levels of sniping are obtained up to 20. Cannon tracking velocity. This is important because we're going to be tackling stuff, right? So, and of course, this is a level 45. It's advanced. We can take it all the way up the line and put all kinds of chips and everything in it. So maybe we'll sit here and look at upgrading this as well. But let's look at this guy when we undock and see the difference. With the Dictor and the Bellicose interdictor, those two, we saw a bubble that took up about half this station. And now before we, oh, wait, maybe I don't have fuel. We'll see. It freaks me out every time I see that. That shouldn't be there, but whatever. Now, when we do this, we have a bubble that takes up the entire station and some. And this is only a 47.5 kilometer bubble. We've got guys that go all the way up to 60. And you can see what that means for you when you have a larger bubble now in terms of the use cases that I've showed you. And there's other use cases, I'm sure, but I mean, these are the main ones I go after, the main ones I tend to use it for. And why I fit this way. I want to be able to get on top of something and keep them from warping away. I don't want them to warp away. I don't necessarily have to hold them with the 2 webs or anything else if they're not faster than I am. I hope they're not faster than I am. Otherwise, they are going to get out of the bubble. That's what the 2 webs are for. I don't want them to kill me. That's what the tracking disruptor is for. So, you know, maybe I'm going to get within 13 kilometers, but maybe I'm not. At any rate, I want to be able to move, and I can move at 2,800 meters per second. That's not really fast enough. But, you know, if they're on the gate and you can get to them quick enough, or they make the mistake of thinking they can take you, then maybe it is, right? There's always a yin and yang to everything. All right, let's dock up real quick. Finish going through the fittings on this, and then we'll go through the implant as well. And see just how big we can get this bubble. Let's just see how big we can get this sucker. Let's go into our fittings. So interdiction sphere launcher, or I'm sorry, warp disrupt field generator. Interdiction sphere launcher is our is for the Dictors. 46.7. It's always up. Takes fuel, so you're gonna get, if you get neuted or nosed, it's not gonna stop. That's not gonna stop it. Cannons don't take any power. They're gonna keep shooting. And we're at defense wise, we're at 11,000. This is what makes this better. It's over 10K, right? So that's nice. So we've got, that's even without the 2 resistance going, without a booster going. And we've got, what did I put on here? Anti-thermal, anti-EM, core defense field. Yeah, I might change that out. Let's see what that does. Let's see what that does, right? So we've got 10,000 mid-range, 50%, 40 to 50% resistance, 10.5. Let's see if it's worth switching out the thermal. We'll leave the EM. If we switch that out to a 3, now we're at 12. Our thermal's for shit, which is lasers. So maybe we wouldn't want to do that. Obviously, resistance is overall, it's not a theory, and it's a fact. Overall, the higher resistances will win out over whatever your boosters or your extenders are doing. The more resistance you have, the better. So yeah, I mean, yeah, thermal. I guess thermal would be better in this case. Glad we walked through it. Did I do it or not? I guess not. Nope, that's the EM. There it is. Let's change this guy to thermal. And since we're maxing this out, why don't we just go shits and giggles and go with the T4? That's the TM4. Did I get the level 4 thermal? I did not. So I only have a level 4 EM and a level 4 core defense. So we'll do those. We'll go with, this is a level 3 EM. Let's go with a level 4 EM. This is a Level 3 core defense. Let's go with a level 4 core defense. Boy, that didn't do much, did it? Is a level 4 really worth it? I think this is still a core defense, so I need a thermal again. Where's my thermals? Level 3 thermal fit. There's our thermal. Overall estimated hit points obviously higher. Raw hit points on the shields lower. That's probably better, again, with the thermal being up there than it is with anything else. And as you can see, the level 4 rigs, man, I wouldn't do it. I'm sure there's guys who are going to integrate the shit out of this and get these numbers even up higher, but I wouldn't do it. And I went with CC. I don't know why the hell I went with CC and 1 aux. No wonder this thing is slow. What in the absolute shit is this? I want all 3 aux rigs. No wonder. I wondered about that speed. I was like, 20, that's not fast enough. What's going on there? Now we've got a little bit faster speed. Let's undock and see what this guy's at. This makes a little bit more sense to me. I thought I had this thing over 3,000, which that was the goal. Get it over 3,000. Most of the doctrine that we see right now is sub 3,000. Yep, 3,500. There we go. Now we're booking. And I know some people are going to say, well, Taylor, that's fucking overkill. But no, it's not. I want to be twice. I want to, you know, if I had the ability to be twice as fast as you, I would be twice as fast as you in something I was trying to tackle you in. You can't get away. That's I want to be able to tackle your ass. Not in a gay way. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Anyway, all right. Let's dock up here. Come on. What are we at? The 45-minute mark? I have no idea how long I've been talking. Okay. Let's get back into the fittings since we're playing around with this shit. Maybe we go with level 4, right? Let's just go with level 4. Aux thrusters. I said 3,500, I believe, is what we showed on the screen a minute ago. Yeah, it was. And that was fantastic. So we'll see how fast this goes when I undock with all level 4 aux thrusters. We'll leave these as they are. There's nothing I really need to change here. There's nothing better than a C-type BDM. And of course, I'm going with autos instead of strikes because numbnuts, they're inside your bubble. You don't need strikes. You need a more DPS. So that's why I went with that. 462. We can see our range on the drone. Who cares about the drone? Let's go into the Nano Core, which of course is also plus 21%, which is why we're sitting at 47. But we can do better than that. Let's go in here and let's train all of these and see if we can't max this out. I probably don't have enough to max it out, but we'll see how far we can get starting with 10,000 of both. Set active. Upgrade successful. And we got stasis web range, and that's not what I wanted. We want the warp disruptor range is what we want. So we're going to have to re-roll for that one. Let's go through them all, though. We got a 90% success rate, so we'll see. I'm hoping 10,000 of both of these units is enough to get through and unlock all of the levels of this nanocore. I couldn't necessarily tell you if this is the best nanocore for this or not, but it's the one I got in here. Upgrade failed a couple times. Come on. Gee, mini Christmas, this sucks. I feel bad when it's actual money. I feel bad even when it's not. I don't know why you have to hit that button twice. There we go. 4.2 warp disruption field disruption range. That's what we wanted there. Good enough. Let's keep going. I might speed this up. Maybe not, because, real time's cool. You can speed it up. You can scrub. Warp drive speed increase, who cares? What I really wanted was light velocity increase. So we're going to have to re-roll for that too. Can't do anything else because I don't have any of these. So if you didn't realize this about nanocores, once you get past those first 4 levels and you get to the 5th one, you need these expensive mofos. And of course, we still got 2 more. So in this range, we could get warp disruption up even higher. In this range, we can get shield. I would go with shield out of those 3. And on this one, warp disruptor optimal range would give you even bigger. So just with that real quick, we got an extra increase anyway, and 1 increase to our webs. Let's go and see what that does to our stats on the bubble. Does it get us over 50? 48.66. Not quite over 50. So looking at that, right, even if we had the other one at 4%, that'd put us over 50. If we got the last one over 4%, that would put us around 54, 55. You have to max out these nanocores and get the top roll itself for each level that you have the possibility of even getting this thing all the way up to what you want. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there that you have to do in order to max it out. But you can get it up to just shy of 60. Everybody says 60, but I think it's like 59 point something is where it's actually at. And if someone does have theirs at 60, give me a screenshot. Let me know. Okay. So then with the sniping technology, because obviously we can see the benefits of this guy getting all the way up as far as possible. We already get that. We don't need to show it again. But how much DPS can you get out of this sucker when you go and look at the implant? Maybe the sniping technology is not the right one. Let's look at this again. I honestly don't know that much about cannons. I know whatever. It's just tracking velocity for this one, for sniping. I mean, maybe you don't even need this. What's the other implant for cannons? Is it barrage? Yeah, this is the one we want. We want barrage. Okay, barrage is what I want right here. So we're going to fit barrage. We're going to fit a level 45. It's now fit. There it is. And we're going to see what that does all by itself. Ammo. I don't think because of the ammo way this works that we're going to see any noticeable difference here. 10, 452. I mean, that was 462. Anyway, nothing there. But let's upgrade this guy and let's get him some stuff. Here we go. Upgrade that. Now he's at a level 10. We have a chip there and a chip there. We're going to upgrade again. 302 on the second level. That was 30 to get him up to level 10. It's 302 of this Ascension Neural ones anyway to get him up to level 25. We're going to upgrade that. Now we get these 2 things unlocked. We get the next one unlocked. We get the next one unlocked. We can get 4 general units in here right now, which is pretty damn powerful. We'll upgrade again. Now it takes 2,125 to get up to level 40. You do the math. I'm not doing the math. You do the math. That's a lot. Now we just need one more upgrade. Another 1,875 will get us up to a maxed out implant. So we have all the general units available to us. We have all of the different types of buffs to the implant we can get. Now you can only pick one, right? I can't just click and say I want them all. This is either or either or. So we'll go into here on the, whoa. Increase the limit of storable rapid firing ammos per cannon. I love how it says missile on that. Ammo loading interval reduces to 24 seconds. I want that. So I would set that one active. And you can swap if you want to later. Just because you've selected that doesn't mean you're screwed. and you can't go up here and select that one. So whatever. Then with this one, we've got increased Canon activation time reduction effects by barrage. So the activation time is reduced by 25%, or we can go to its fall off reduction. Let me see what that does in terms of how it looks on the in our final stats of our cannons. And then, of course, we get suppressive fire because we're level 40. So upon skill activation, the enemy's movement speed is slowed by 20% when the cannon land and hit on the target last 30 seconds. So we do want them to slow down. That's the whole point of this thing, is to try to tackle and keep them pinned, right? So there we go. Now let's look at our general units. I have no idea what I have in my inventory for general units, so let's just see what we got. If I click on this, what if this is going to apply to our ship? Anything for speed, velocity on a micro warp drive is going to be good. So we'll look at that first. It doesn't matter which order you put these in, by the way, or which on the first two, the last two, the middle two. It doesn't really matter. We do have an optimal shield booster, level 4. So we get, it costs us 25% more for our capacitor, but it has an 18% increase in the repair. Or we have an efficiency where the shield repairs less, but it doesn't cost us as much. I would go with the shield, this one here. So we'll put that guy in. We'll then go down to tracking disruptors. We have tracking disruptors on here. So we've got a range correction. I don't like the looks of that. We got this one. Tracking speed boost. I'll go with that. Oh, stop. I do need something for, I don't want ballistics, missiles, omni, shields, armor, no. Remote, no. Capacitors, no. Afterburner, no. Micro warp drives, here we go. So I tend to always go with the output boosts over the efficiency boosts because they just seem to make more sense to me. We don't have sensor dampeners involved, no target painters, no NOS. We did put a large newt. Didn't we put a newt on this one? I forget if we put a newt on this one, but we'll go with an energy newt, make it a little bit better. If I didn't, I should have. So I guess we'll check that here in a minute. And we'll see what the heck else we have. We got so many different things. We don't have anything down here, so none of this matters. Okay. So in this case, there's an interesting thing here. You can't go and put 2 micro warp drives on here. Won't let you do it. So, you know, how many of all 6 of these are really going to come into play? I don't know. Just depends. It's all situational, right? So we've done all of that. We go back into our fittings. Obviously, we don't have anything changing on the DPS side of it. Let's undock. We know what our bubble size is now. It's massive. Let's see what our speed looks like. And I'm not sure what the heck we're going to be able to shoot. But we do get to see, because there's nobody here. I could go shoot a rat, I suppose. We get our bubble up. We're going 42, 43, 4,400 meters per second, 4,500 meters per second. Look at this puppy go. Yep, breaks 4,500. Look at that, 45, 53. What's going to run away from you? I mean, a daredevil. There's scepters that don't go that fast. I mean, so surprise. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. That is pretty freaking sweet. Just with one general unit really is all that took to really boost that up. And of course, these guys are now out to 13 and a half. Whoop-de-doo. Nothing crazy there. We do have our large newt really sucking you down. So 776. Tracking disruptors. Now we've got, and it's okay that the optimal range is 45. It's outside of our bubble. That's fine. Anything from there in is going to work fine. So we've got good, 27.5% taken off for their tracking, their range, their accuracy fall off. So, if it's a bigger ship that's got a little bit of range on their DPS, they're going to have a hard time hitting you while you're keeping them in their bubble. And they're not going to be able to get away from you at 4,500 meters per second. Overall, I like this fit. And of course, we'll put those two on. Oh yeah, what's the shield booster do? Medium, 269. Yeah, not crazy. But if we go back and look at those stats now, yeah, 57,000. You're going to last a little bit, right? Look at those resistance. You're going to last. You got over 10,000 on your raw shields, and your resistances are at almost 80% across the board. This guy's going to last a while, and he's going to put out the DPS as well, because that 462 is just a paper number at this point. Look how far away I am from this thing. What if I tried to... What do we got here? What's something around? Let's just jump, take the bubble down. What is around that I can shoot? Nothing. I didn't think so. No, nothing. We got to go through another system. We'll jump through and then we'll mess around with the implant and see. As you can see here, it's already got loaded up 24. If I hit that, we're going to get that activated skill. Same thing with the other one. And we'll see what the DPS on a rupture interdictor can get up to. Which, of course, sorry, I don't want Black Friday. Which, of course, I didn't put any GUs, now that I think about it, in for the cannons to increase their damage or anything. So, no, I have no cap. I burned through all my capacitor. There we go. I wasn't even watching that. I was so enthralled by how fast we were going. Watch me not have anything I can get and go shoot rat-wise here. Yeah, here we go. Only 122. Let's just go to a medium. Something like that. Could have just gone to a small. Doesn't matter. I have no cap, so that'll be fun. Again, the cap doesn't matter because your cannons will still fire. Yeah, look at all this crazy horse shit. What is going on with Fulmination Server? So this is a weird medium anomaly. All right. We'll take that guy and we will orbit him at, I guess we'll orbit him at our optimal. We'll go ahead and tank those two. And of course our optimal is 3, but we'll be somewhere around, like I said, 20. And we'll start to shoot. Pop that guy. And, wrong button. And see what our DPS is now. 1,097. So, 1,000 DPS. What if I pop that one as well? Back down to 462. Should be recharging us back up. But almost 1,100 DPS. Of course, now we're in optimal range and we don't even need to move at this point. Who cares? We're starting to build back up our ammo again. We see we're at 462. We can still just hit that button, activate those, and for a couple of shots, we're at 1,000 DPS until, of course, we use up the shots. Only had 4 shots. We have 4 guns. There you go. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. Overall, that was a lot of fun. We'll get out of here. If I die, who cares? But no sense in blowing up the pretty Hictor. Okay, that's pretty much it for Hictors and Dictors. I played around with implants for a little while there because I was having fun. Who else gets to just sit and just max out one of those suckers like that, without spending a dime? any other content creator does, but I never see them do it. Like, it's the joy of being able to do that, just totally in the nano core too, and not even thinking about the money. But anyway, all right, fun times. If you have any questions on the Hictors and Dictors, please let me know. Obviously, you can come on over to the Discord, Echoes of New Eden, and talk with Rambo, Crimson, and myself. This week, we will not have a show because it's Thursday, Thanksgiving here in the United States. It's a holiday. I hope all of you, whether you're in the U.S. or not, have some good times with family, friends, food, eat as much turkey as possible. Yeah, good times. So there'll be no regular show Thursday. We'll be back again next week, and I'm sure I'll have another breakdown at some point before a whole month goes by. Until then, I'm Taylor Rick, and we'll catch you soon.